This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. On this episode of the MQP, it is Royale Lynn from Small Town Girl. Royale Lynn has been experimenting with a nostalgic alt metal influenced hard rock sound that has resonated with over 1 million followers across socials and over 65 million global streams, proving her prowess for bridging the gap between two seemingly different worlds on her full length debut. It's called Black Magic. It is coming out on June 27th. The self-professed metalhead from a small town brings an extensive musical acumen and deep songwriting roots, which we'll get into, to elevate her visual and sonic identity. I'm happy to have here on the Metal Queens podcast, Royale Lynn. Welcome.
Hi, what an intro. Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing this, Royal. So you grew up, in Ontario. What was life like for you growing up? How important was music, and how did you get into music?
Oh my goodness, I grew up small town life, one stoplight, not a lot to do in town. I wouldn't change it for the world. Music kind of has followed me over the years and totally just given me an escape, even as, growing up, obviously in a small town, like you don't know how big the world really is.
Mm,
So it's been really cool to actually like see a lot of the bands that like I used to listen to on the bus, like on my CD Walkman, and like now see them live. It's just like it's so special to just see the journey. And music has always been such a big part of my life.
yeah, and to be on the same stage with them too. You've been doing festivals this spring so far. You got some more dates coming up. What has that been like?
It's surreal. Like seriously, it's like mind-boggling that I'm like we came from such a small town and now we're here, and it's really cool to just be like if you have a dream, like it can happen. And I am like a true testament to that, that it doesn't matter like how small the town is that you come from, like you can do, you can make your dreams happen.
Who have been some of your influences?
Oh my goodness. A Day to Remember was a huge one.
Mm.
I still love them. They're still releasing like incredible records, which I love. Flyleaf was one, and I actually just a few days ago got to finally see Lacey live, and it was so, so special. I was like, this is a full circle moment, like right here. So
Yeah, Flyleaf, Evanescence come up here a lot as influences, of course, on the Metal Queens podcast. So the new album, Black Magic, comes out on June 27th. Let's start with the title. What's the story behind that?
so Black Magic is actually one of the songs off the record, which no one has heard yet, which I'm
Mm.
so excited to share that one with everyone. But the whole album is a concept. So when I started writing it, I was like, what do I want to say? And we're kind of moving genres, and but we're also taking from every genre that there is to create this album that's kind of like a hybrid. Um, and going into the hard rock scene with all of these different influences. So it started as a concept record from Pandora's box, and every song is actually an evil that escaped from her box, and they're all based around mental health.
Yeah.
So when we were choosing like what the record should be called, I always thought it was going to be Pandora's box. And then as we continued writing and we found a few tracks that I was like, I feel like an umbrella for the whole project is better suited as Black Magic, because truly every single one of these songs has magic in it. So, and we've done a lot of Easter eggs within the record, so I'm just so excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, you have released a bunch of singles for a while now for this upcoming album release on June 27th. I want to touch on mental health. It affected you. Was the goal going into this Royal and these songs therapy for you?
Absolutely. I feel like me writing what I write is me writing like a piece of my soul into all of these songs. So for me to speak about mental health and like how it's affected me or like the people around me and be able to write songs that might help people the way that music totally helped me growing up, um, like that I've done my job at that point. And I think that music about mental health doesn't have to be it can have breakdowns and it can sound cool, and you can like bop your head to it. So it's been really cool, like, putting these mental health things within these cool tracks that make you want to sing along.
Let's talk about some of the cool tracks that have been released already. Love Danny Warsnop from Asking Alexandria. How did you hook up with him? The track is Death Wish. What's that song all about?
So that one we wrote for first responders
Mm.
and just the community and like those the impact that it's had on the community is so special. Like a lot of people have given me the patches off of their work attire, which is crazy, and like coins and just like these really cool things that are so special to them. For them to gift them to us for just writing a song about it is just like out of this world. And I don't take that lightly. But working with Danny is one of my, like, he is such a great human and has become such a great friend over the years. So, for him to want to hop on the track and then make it his own, I was truly honored that he wanted to be a part of it.
How about Battleground? What's that about?
Battleground's my it was, I kind of wrote it from a situation that I was in. And I just was like, I feel like we need kind of an anthem for people who want to leave but don't know how to leave uh, a partner that isn't suiting them anymore or not necessarily treating them the best. So
Mm.
that one is the last song on the record and truly a special one. And the live show, like seeing people sing it on this last tour that we're on is just it's been really cool. And that one's a really heavy song, like subject matter wise.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been really cool to see the outpour and the messages from people who like needed it. And that's really cool to me to just be able to provide them with something that gives them hope.
There's a song which is an acronym, EVIL, which is a very special song. I know. It's the acronym stands for Every Voice Inside Lies. What's the deal with that one?
So when we wrote that song, we sat down and I was like, I really want an acronym on the
Mm.
record. And I knew and I had a bunch of different ideas and I'm very calculated and know what I want to write that day and I remember sitting down with Andrew Bayless and Dan Polarin and Andrew Capra and I was just like this sounds crazy but like what if Evil had like an acronym and it totally was all hands on deck that day and when we came up with Every Voice Inside Lies I was like it's perfect and being one of the evils. So that's really cool because it literally is the evil in the Pandora box, like universe. And that one is straight up about mental health. That is
Mm.
like the voices like won't stop and like how do you deal with them? And it's kind of like the good angel and the bad angel on your shoulder. And then we were like, what if it was a dance track? And so it was really cool to see that one, come into fruition from all of us and all the minds in the room. And Andrew Bayless just like brought this track to life. And I was like, oh my goodness. And when we went in to cut it with Jonathan Roach, my producer, him and I sat down and I was like, this song has so much in it already. And he was like, well, why don't we put some like whispers in? And I was like, that's a great idea. I
Mm.
love the idea of that. So you'll hear in the first verse some whispers, but the whispers are actually me saying my favorite horror movie lines backwards.
Mm. And what's
So,
the favorite horror movie?
oh my God. I mean, I have so many, but Insidious off the top of my head, one
Mm.
and two are great. And all the Conjurings, obviously, the Ed and Lorraine files. I'm a huge horror nerd, so but we did classic lines for that one. So it's like I see dead people and just like really cool
Yeah.
classics and really brought that track to life. So there's an Easter egg. If you've been listening to Evil, you are listening to me saying a few horror lines backwards.
Your band is badass. Who are these guys? How'd you get them together?
Thank you. They're going to be so excited. So Brian Karajanian, he's been with me for a few years. He is a monster on guitar
Oh, yeah.
and oh, I literally he has been with me since before we were doing cool shows. We were doing like living room shows and stuff like that. So he's been with me from the start. And Doug McKenna, he is so good at drums. He's such a good human, and we're just so honored and grateful that he's with us. We are the loudest three-piece that anyone has ever heard.
Yeah. I was hooked in as soon as I heard the first riff on What Greed, I think it was. Yeah. I was
We have
hooked.
We have too much fun.
Yeah, no, you really do.
I really
What's
feel
the,
like I found brothers.
yeah, what's the songwriting process? Is it a collaboration between all of you, or you take the lead on it?
So every day is different. I
Mm,
feel like living in Nashville, you're kind of always writing. And for those who don't know, we usually write at 11 a.m. Every day. And then you walk in and you just are like, what are we going to write today? With my stuff, so I write for other artists as well, but for my stuff, I'm very calculated and very like, I figure out how I'm feeling that day before I walk in. Cause like for my project, like since I'm the artist in this scenario and it's different when I'm writing for other artists, but I have to sit back and be like, what do I want to say?
mm,
And like where does this want what is the vibe, you know? Some days you're like, I want to write a sad song today. It's like tomorrow we write a dance track called Evil, you know?
mm.
Like so there's and it's fun and sometimes you catch a vibe off like a riff to start and sometimes you're like I have this song idea. So it kind of all ebbs and flows and you never know what's going to pop up that day, but we've been writing some cool stuff lately. So I'm excited for everything.
How did you end up in Nashville? And how long have you been there?
So I moved here in 2015. And I knew I wanted to be a performer and songwriting, like I came from a small town, like no one co-wrote anything. The co-writing wasn't even, I didn't even know that existed
Mm,
until I was here. And then everybody was co-writing and I was like trying to figure it out. And like, obviously when you're new to town, like you're like, what's right and what are you supposed to do? And a lot of people are writing country. So I started writing country because that's, you know, second nature and I grew up in the country so like I feel like I can explain country well
yeah.
um but I always had this like longing to write rock music and to get on stage and like rock, so that's when I was like I feel like we could just like kick outside the box and like forget about genres, let's just see what happens, and that's when we wrote 6 Feet.
Mm. I know you've got some tour dates coming up in July. A couple of festivals, actually. One up in Wisconsin. You can get the tour dates at Royal Lynn's website. Um, any other future touring plans in the works, perhaps?
So we are definitely in the works of touring and what's going to happen in the fall. There are a few dates in July, so you will be able to catch us. Um, and obviously some festivals, which we're really excited to hit, and a few headlining dates. And we have a few more that might be added, so you got to keep an eye out.
Yeah, royallynmusic.com and Royal Lynn Music on socials as well. What's the best thing about performing live?
Oh my goodness. I think it's the connection with the audience.
Mm,
It's one of my favorite parts. Like we do like a free meet and greet after the show. And like to meet the people who are streaming the music is kind of my favorite part of it all because it becomes real and it's like it's impacting these people and you're just like I'm just a girl who writes songs and wants to rock. So it's really been cool to see the reaction and people singing the songs.
All right, we're going to wrap up here with five questions for Royal Lynn. Your favorite drink?
Oh my goodness. Alcohol or normal?
I'll do alcohol.
Okay, alcohol. Okay. I'm gonna say Coors Light.
Okay. All right. Favorite cover song?
Favorite cover song. You know what? I'm gonna stick with All Around Me by Flyleaf.
Mm, good one. What is your dream collaboration?
Oh my goodness. Probably, probably Jeremy McKinnon from A Day to Remember. Fingers crossed.
Mhm. If you weren't in music, what would you be doing?
I would be doing this still. There is nothing else I'd rather do than this. And even if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing this.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Oh my goodness. Sum 41 in Simple Plan. I was 10 years old. My stepdad had me on his shoulders the whole time because I couldn't see anything. And it was a giant mosh pit.
Royal, when you were growing up in that small town, did you ever get this far in your dreams?
Oh my goodness. I hoped, hoped, and you just got to go out there and do it and not take no for an answer.
All right. She's Royal Lynn, And the new album, Black Magic, is coming out on June 27th. Get updates on tour dates at royallynmusic.com and on socials too, Royal Lynn Music. Thank you so much for joining me, Royal.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. It's great to chat with you.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. And this is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards.